So I will call this meeting to order. The first order of business is review and approval of the prior meeting's minutes. Do I have a motion? You guys are all on mute.
I have a motion to approve the minutes with two adjustments. The first one in my Greens report to remove the word all, because all the maintenance employees were not there, but some were. And then the second one is in the motion for the open qualifier to change the second from Mrs. Squeechy-Morrow to Mr. Squeechy-Morrow. I actually read the minutes. Someone did. You got it. Caught it.
Wow.
So I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes pending those two adjustments.
I'll second.
Do we have a second, Joe?
Sure.
Any further comments, concerns, questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. The next item is audience participation. So let me see what we have here. We have 6 attendees, is that right?
That is correct. If you are interested in speaking, you may hit the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. And it looks like Mr. Sullivan would like to speak.
Okay, I don't see him on my list yet.
He's on our list now, Don. Bill moved him over.
He what?
Bill moved him over to our list so he can speak.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you do. All right. Okay, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you.
State your name and address.
Sure. Neil Sullivan, 65 High Ridge Road, Trumbull. I assume you guys can hear me okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I see that tonight's meeting agenda includes proposed amendments to the Tea Time reservation process and Golf Commission rules and regulations. I am a town resident, taxpayer, and avid player who is proud to have Toshua as my home course. Over a season, I play many of the courses in the area, and I note 2 regular policies at competing courses that don't appear to be included in the proposed Tea Time reservation process. I hope commissioners will see fit to include these items in the new process. The first item is advanced bookings for town residents. Virtually every public course I have played in the area over the last year gives town residents a head start in booking tee times. I recall at Stanford Sterling Farms, residents had a 24-hour window in which to book advanced tee times over non-residents. At Toshua, in order to enjoy the lower resident rate, residents are already required to purchase an annual pass, and that process annually confirms town residency. I hope the commission will provide registered town residents with a window of time to book tee times before opening times to the general public. Second, for avid supporters of Toshua Knolls who are non-residents, I hope the commission will consider allowing non-residents to buy a pass at a set price that would effectively give these pass holders the same early booking window I propose for town residents. Again, I have seen this option offered at other public courses in the region. In closing, I would encourage the commission not to vote to change the racking process until, at a minimum, a preference for registered town residents is included in the policy.
Can I ask a question?
What's that?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, so our current racking policy doesn't have a preferential resident time built in. So why would we switch the rack and build in a resident policy, Mr. Sullivan?
Well, as I've stated, in my experience in going to other courses in the area, there is a preference for residents. I don't believe that this racking process has been explored for 30 years. And again, that's a big fat round number, but it's been quite a number of years. And this is a major change to the policy that the Golf Commission is adopting. And I think that Trumbull residents should be treated as favorably at their home course as other towns treat their residents.
So with
Okay.
the reduction in cost for rounds, is that not preferential for residents?
Well, I think, again, I don't know what work the commission's done to query courses in the region, but I do believe, for instance, my example of Stanford, and quite honestly, in my opinion, Sterling Farms compares most favorably to Toshua Knolls as far as the quality of a golf course in this region, a public golf course in this region. Sterling Farms offers its town resident a reduced rate and also offers its town residents a 24-hour window ahead of the general public to book tee times.
Okay, good. Thank Neil. Thank you. We will take that under advisement. Do we have another person in the audience who would like to
Yes,
comment?
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Fancook would like to speak.
Okay,
Did very well on my name, sir. The governor just changed the restaurant 50% to 50% capacity with a max of 100 people. How is that going to change anything with our invitational type stuff that both the 9-holers and the 18-holers, the women, hold their tournaments in July and August? You don't have to answer me now because the governor just changed that a couple days ago.
yeah, our policy has been to follow what the CSGA, Connecticut State Golf Association, sets forth based upon what the governor and his folks say is permissible. So we take our guidance on these matters from the Connecticut State Golf Association. I can't tell you exactly where that is right now, but that's what we follow.
I know, and then who knows what's going to happen in a week and a half. The other question I have is, I know you've been discussing the condition of the roof, et cetera, and again, you don't have to answer this now, but if it's going to be replaced, would that affect anything that would be held indoors at Toshua Knolls?
We're still in the exploratory stage. We do not know what could occur in that regard. We haven't put forth anything as to how we may or may not proceed with the roof. So I cannot answer that question for you.
No, I wouldn't expect that you would. So, but it's things that, concern both the 9 and 18-hole women.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else? No?
I believe that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Director of Golf Course Properties report.
All right. I have a short report that I'm going to give. Then I'm going to hand it over to our Assistant Superintendent, Paul. For the last 3 weeks, the first week in February, I attended our National Golf Course Superintendents Association education show. It was done virtually this year. I put together a list of all the ones I have attended. The nice thing about the virtual one this year is they're letting us view them for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So get a chance to go back and pretty much get as many these seminars in as I want. They range from, fungicides, business, management, leadership with the crew, budgeting, a whole plethora of things. So if you look through the list that I put on there, you can kind of see what I've been doing. Feel free to ask any questions, but they've all been really interesting this year, and I really like the format that they went with this year. The next is we are currently interviewing for seasonal staff members. All the staff that worked for us last year has asked to come back, and so we have a good retention of employees, and we're still going to be adding a few in the next couple of days. Second, and the third thing I want to add is our equipment was currently still being serviced and maintained throughout the winter, and we're so far on track. I'm going to hand it over to Paul, and he's going to update where we've been on with the projects for the last month or so.
Okay, well, we've been cruising along up until the snow, which has been falling for the past pretty much month. Seems like every day. So we've been spending a great deal of time cleaning up snow every day and putting down ice melt every day. And but we lost some of our part-timers when there was the creek renovation crew and the tree crew. So we kind of consolidated that crew to now a stone wall clearing crew. So we're almost buttoned up on 5 stone wall behind the green. We moved over to 6 behind the green. So we're going to try to spend a good amount of time there while there's so much snow on the ground and when it all melts and the course is all soupy, so we don't make a mess out in the course. Jeff Cook's been inside the clubhouse, been doing a lot of work in there, staining, polishing, cleaning up the place, making it look nice for the season. Now he's working in our shop doing the same thing. But besides that, we're just kind of plugging away at stone walls right now.
Okay, you can see him, huh?
But yeah,
I mean, they found the one behind the 5th green, found one to the left of the 5th green that we didn't even know existed, and the guy's been doing great work out there. So,
Okay, great. Any questions for Doug or Paul? Okay, Frank, you're up. Green Committee.
Thank you. Very good. We met on February 17th at 10. I'd like to welcome back Owen Evans to the Greens Committee. We met in the clubhouse. I'm going to submit my report. Hopefully, Chris, can you just add my report to the minutes as submitted? Save us some time so we can get to what we're here for, to do some work. Also, I just want to reiterate what we've been saying all year. Please stay off the course, especially now that it's snow covered. You do not know where you're walking. And as Paul said, we do have crews out there with various projects that are covered with the snow. So please, for your safety and for the people you're with safety, please just stay off the golf course. It's not a place to walk and gallivant around. You don't know what you're walking on, the greens or cart paths, curbs, something to trip over, even a small creek. So thank you. I submit my report. Any questions on my report from the commissioners?
Okay. All right, moving right along. Director of Golf Report, Bobby.
Good evening, everybody. My report is verbal. It's very brief. Enjoying the last month before I head back to work next week. I too attended our PGA show back in January. It was virtual as well. Pretty interesting format, and I hope they don't do this forever, but it was good this year while it lasted. One of the main things we've been working on, Mitchell French, my assistant, with Christine, been working on just getting everything set up with the new software. It's very tedious and getting all the pricing structures and everything set up, as well as depending upon tonight's vote, how we're going to go with all those types of things. But Mitchell's been great. Spoke with the town, and we had to order 2 credit card machines and 2 new receipt printers that will work with the cloud and Ethernet capabilities. So we'll get those, hopefully be on order and get those in within the next week or 2 and be ready to go. New gift cards have been ordered. regarding the website, making some revisions slowly as we go along. I've updated the ladies' 18 and 9 holder schedules and application forms. So new members can now access the PDFs through the website. We're making some more changes, probably a lot more next week. And then just working a lot on just getting our junior golf program set up. Still not sure exactly what, limits we're going to have in place. But just trying to go ahead and plan ahead and maybe add a little bit more than we did last year, increase the size of classes and so forth. Regarding the golf course, I do plan on opening pre-COVID, trying to get everything will be done in the golf shop. And we'll just kind of take our direction, like Don said, from the CSGA with regards to shotguns and how many players and so forth like that. That's all I have. Any questions?
Questions of Bobby? Okay, no questions. Moving along. House Committee, Angelo.
Okay, on January 28th, Mr. Snyder sent a request to Mr. Faustini with the forecast for extreme cold weather. He was asking him to turn on the heat and put it at appropriate temperatures to avoid any pipe freezings. And later that same day, Mr. Faustini's assistant did show up and turn the heat on. On February 8th, we received the results of the outside roof inspection. We have two major issues. Number one is an ongoing problem involving water leaking down the chimney into the boiler room. The town's inspection a year ago did identify that we needed a chimney cap and flashing on the backside of the chimney. This is the only portion of our roof that doesn't have an ice shield or new shingles. The second issue is a little more serious. It involves the area on the circle side of the building. The handrails are rusting and becoming weak. The step guards are raising up, and the concrete steps are not in good shape. Also, the gutters above this area are not working properly. That's causing water to come down, icing, and adding to the overall safety issues of this area. So that's something we're going to have to address. After I submitted this, there's a lot of doings with the pendants, and Christine, I believe, is going to try to get us straight on what's going on in that area.
Yeah, we had the dry pendant inspection last Wednesday, and it is, as a lot of things around our clubhouse has become complicated. There was a lot of miscommunication, I think, because the system the company that we used before, Fairfield County Sprinkler, was bought by another company. So we kind of were the victim of some misinformation going back and forth. But it turns out that all of our pendants inside the clubhouse are wet pendants, and therefore not in need of being inspected as a dry pendant. There are 6, however, that are dry pendants. 5 are under the porch facing the golf course, and 1 is in the vestibule facing the circle. Unfortunately, all 6 of them are pretty deteriorated, and the new fire sprinkler company is not even going to send them for testing because they need replacement. The good news is the cost to replace them is going to be exactly the same cost as it was going to be to test them. The bad news is, and it always gets followed by bad news, is that several years ago we had problems and we replaced the backside of the roof because we had a lot of problems with ice dams going under that roof, which blew out those sprinklers. And it also destroyed the original ceiling that was there. So you probably have never looked up on that ceiling, but we had like a faux ceiling put up. We had 2 sprinkler breakdowns after that. That roof that ceiling has come down and was put up twice in the past. And unfortunately is going to have to come down again for the replacement of all these sprinklers. Doug and I are going to meet with, we're setting up a meeting with the sprinkler company to see exactly what we have to do. But there's a possibility that that faux roof may not be able to be put back up again. And the ceiling or the slow ceiling and the ceiling that is under there is gone. There is nothing there that we could use. So we're possibly facing the potential of having to replace that ceiling.
Hang on 1 second, Christine. Does anyone else hear this chirping?
That's my bird. I'm sorry. I can't shut it up.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I know. It's actually in love with me. And Mike, can you move the bird?
Everybody's in love with you, Christine.
It loves me. It's like my dog. I apologize.
That's
I'll mute when I'm not here.
Glad it's not me going,
No, it's it was a bird that was found in a parking lot by my daughter. So it's crazy.
Okay.
The dry pendant testing, the dry pendants have to be custom made. It will take at least 6 weeks for this to be done. So unfortunately, this project is going to carry on for a little while. And the dry pendants have to be replaced for us to pass inspection and get insurance for the year. So some good, some bad news.
How much is this going to cost, and where does it fit in our budget lines? Is that under
Well,
maintenance?
the cost for the dry pendants was the same as was going to be for the testing. So they're taking that same purchase order that's already been encumbered. So that is not extra. What may be a problem is the ceiling. And we'll have to face that when we face it and see how much it costs. But that's why I wanted to put it on your horizon, because it may be a problem.
Chris, it's Tony. Isn't the cost 2,100, 21 and change?
For the pendants.
Yes, for the pendant. So Frank was asking that question. So
Right, but it's already been encumbered. With that
Right.
that money is already, when Joe does the budget reports, it's already been taken off the top. So there is no additional cost that we
had $2,100 allocated for the testing originally, so it just switched allocations, but it's already been
earmarked.
Do we have to tell the Board of Finance about that transfer, or?
It's already done through purchasing.
Okay.
Thankfully.
Okay. All right. It's always great news coming from Angelo and Chris in this section of the meeting.
Well,
Tony probably has more good news.
Let me give you mine. At least I'll give you this. So.
Okay, let me introduce you, Tony. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, it's not on the agenda, but we have another line item that should be on the agenda that should say special projects, Tony C. So here we go, Tony.
Okay, so as far as we had taken on the electrical, we had 4 issues to take care of. All are done. Hopefully, Bobby, the photo cell is working in the golf cart area. We added the switch for the flagpole, fixed the lights in the right outside the restaurant area, and of course the big one, the meter's complete. We have the new meter on. UI is all set. They're happy with where we are with that. We also got the cupolas done. They were done last Wednesday, so that part was done by Ram Construction. That piece is finished. I've got a few other things you could read that are on the list. I'm working with Chris on those pendants, and then on the roofing piece, that's our part as well. We do have we had one new roofing company come in, Valley Roofing, and we have another company coming in. Vito out of Wallingford. They are the roofing company that did the other half of our roof, the golf club or the golf course side, the way we describe it. So they will also come and give us a price for the division where we have responsibility for that, over the main entrance and to the left, and then the chimney area versus the right side, which is of course the dining area, which is Dominic's responsibility. That's where we don't know that yet, but we're going, whichever way we go, that has to be repaired too. So we'll have separate price proposals for both areas. And that's about it. That's it from me. Any questions?
Okay. Let me just tack on that. I don't know if we mentioned this at the last meeting or not, but the initial estimate from the first company looking at the roof was $120,000. And that wouldn't include damage underneath, plywood, interior damage, and all. But we are getting other numbers, and we'll be working with the town and the attorneys to see how we should proceed. But it's a slow slog, but we're gonna stay on it. Any other questions of Tony?
Yeah, just with town compliance, are we stuck with town roofers? Are they the two vendors you contacted part of the town's bid process? Because I know we're stuck with two tree companies that we'd rather not be. But so are we able to change roofers, or are they town? I forget the right wording, Chris.
I don't know.
They're town vendors, but the one that Tony just mentioned was Venan Fido, and we used them last time. We were really happy with them. Ram just did the Mikla Center, the Cart Barn. They seem to have done a good job. We're not going with any of them yet. They're just introductory bids. So right now they are town vendors, yeah. But
And do we have to put it out to bid since it's going to be over a certain amount?
We don't know.
Probably too early to tell.
We don't know.
Right.
We don't know the answer to those questions. We're just trying to get a ballpark figure of what's involved. So we want to get a couple of ballpark figures of
Right.
what's involved. And then we go with the town and we find out what needs to be done.
And Frank, develop a specification so that we have a spec that everybody has to adhere to. And then if we have to go out to bid, we will be prepared to do that.
Very good. I didn't know if our number was over 3,000. I think that's the town number. Or is it 2,500, Chris? Something like that?
It's the same numbers. It hasn't been changed. So
Okay.
Tony,
moving along.
Hey, Don, I got one thing. Tony,
Oh,
I was looking at the Cart Barn roof today just to see the cupola removal. I did notice, I was standing on the chipping green side of the Cart Barn. Looks like there is one piece of shingle missing, looks like just one panel that we need to probably have a roofer come back and patch that piece back up. Right above the bathroom side doors, maybe 10, 15 feet up from the doors.
Okay, great.
That Tony?
I got it. I will call them.
Hey,
And I'm back up. I'm up there Wednesday. I'll take a look at it, Chris.
Tony, and you know what though? I think that shingle that he's referring to flew off with Isaias, and they may have been to not replace it when they saw it. I don't think that was the cupola part, but we did have a couple shingles blow off, but they should have done it.
Okay. I'll take that on, Doug. No worries. Let me find out. Yep.
Good. All right. Concessionaire, Dominic's not here as I look at the participant list. So we move along to the Finance Committee and Joe.
Yep. Evening, everyone. I'll keep mine short and sweet tonight. We're doing very well with expenses. We are high on program supplies and we are high with maintenance and equipment and building. That being said, now that Doug's back, I'll get with him and the Greens Committee this week and probably come up with a plan for reopening to make sure we're within budget. That being said, the only other business I have is to thank the Senior Men's Club for their donation for upkeep of on-course gardening and replanting the flowers around the flagpole.
Very nice. Very nice. Any questions of Joe? All right, moving along. Diane, do we have anything for Human Resources to report? You're on the agenda.
I think Chris just puts me there to keep me awake. No, I don't. I'm assuming that very soon we're going to be hiring the part-timers. Am I right, Doug?
Diane, we're putting them all on. we're not sure of the opening day, but it takes 2 weeks for me to get them on anyway. So we're
Right.
submitting the paperwork for all returning, and actually Bobby and Teddy are interviewing Thursday for new starter rangers. Doug has got some new ones. So yes, we're in the process of putting them all on.
Okay, and just, you know what, just keep me posted if that gets held up in the works, I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a good turnout of
Yes.
candidates?
For both. For
Yeah.
both starter rangers and maintenance. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Anyone else? Questions of Diane in the human resources area? All right, she's already muted herself.
I'll unmute.
Correspondence?
You can't kick.
No, do I
I have nothing. Nothing was submitted.
Okay, no correspondence. Old business. Cart bid. Please tell me everything is signed, sealed, and almost delivered, Joe.
We are awaiting one signature from the town attorney on page 5. As soon as that is signed, I believe we will have a completed and executed contract. That being said, though, the town purchasing department has been very proactive about it, as well as EasyGo has been very approachable about it. So I think we're in good shape. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby, but that's the latest I saw. You're on mute.
You're on mute, Bobby. Still on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, page 5, Dan Shopik did sign page 5, but he signed the wrong one. He signed the one without Maria's signature. So that's why, and it's been bounced back and forth. So I thought this was taken care of. This is news to me, Joe. I mean, I thought I was going to call Nick today to see if everything was all set. I know Doug's utility vehicles are being delivered tomorrow morning, which is a good thing.
Good.
But I don't know where that puts us. We might not be getting our golf carts now till April. I don't know where this puts us in terms of the delay.
The good news is we have our old fleet until the new fleet arrives.
Yep.
And that being said, when the new fleet does arrive, we will donate one people mover to Stern Village and one utility cart to the high school. So we'll get a little bit of good PR for the golf course within the town.
Is page 5 the same on both of them?
That's tomorrow's dilemma.
All right. I mean, come on. All right. Advanced tea time reservation system, Tom.
Sure. So since the last meeting, Shelley and I have met with Bobby and Mitch a couple of times, and then expanded the group to include Joe and Don a few times, basically to talk about the implementation of this new system. As Bobby talked about earlier, we've done a lot of work. I haven't done any of it, but a lot of work has been done by specifically Chris and Mitch, transitioning from the old system to the new system. Some of the databases, the customer databases, the complex pricing structure we have. Like I said, some of the things that Bobby had mentioned. Also, there's some training sessions that they attended with people from 4UP, just to get trained on how to use it and how to make the adjustments as needed. In addition to all that, a lot of work, and I really need to give Mitch French a shout out here. Now, Bobby mentioned that he did some work. This couldn't have been done without him. I don't think he did a lot of work on testing this new system's capabilities, and specifically with trying to get it to be a system that had minimal, if any, kind of manual overrides or manual adjustments that needed to be made on the fly. So, and that ultimately kind of was the end game here, is this, we were trying to use this new system basically to kind of take out all the manual processes that were in place in our tea time reservation process. So all that has gone on since the last meeting, and basically the end game here was to try to formulate a motion, which we have come up with for this meeting, try to formulate a motion to be presented to you guys. So that's where we stand in terms of the system. And I guess we're going to talk about it a little bit more now,
Okay.
I imagine. So
Yeah. Shelley, would you be kind enough to bring the motion?
Absolutely. Okay, I make a motion to revise the Golf Commission rules and regulations and tee time reservations.
I'll second.
Okay, now hopefully everyone has read it. We open it up for discussion. Any questions, comments, etc.?
I have a comment, Don. I just want to thank Shelley and Tom and Mitch and Bobby and everybody that worked on this. It obviously was labor intensive. You can see that, and I think they should be commended.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget Christine too. She had a lot there.
Oh, and Christine, of course.
Christine has a few gray hairs
Of
as a
course.
result of what we put her through.
Yeah, honestly, though, you can see the hours that you guys put in, and I thank you, as I'm sure the rest of the commission thanks you also.
Thank you, Diane. Appreciate
Thank you.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Do we have a policy on how we're going to deal with the weather?
And what do you mean?
Well, let's say we start getting inclement weather. Is it if the golf course is open, they're expected to play, or how are we going to handle, for instance, if you have to cancel the day before, and let's say that overnight it starts raining, but the course is still going to be open. It's not underwater, or maybe car paths only, or do we going to take that in consideration at all? Or is it the policy just going to be if the court?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Bobby has always taken that into consideration. Sure, certainly. Bobby, do you want to add anything to that? I mean,
Well, I think it's a really good point. That's something that we didn't discuss. Obviously, when we have inclement weather, we always the no-show cancellation policy is waived. So that means that could get a little hairy if someone, again, under this motion, if for some reason the forecast goes bad on Friday and somebody canceled on Thursday and we already charged them the $60, there's going to be a refund. It's going to be some work done there. But yeah, we're always going to err on the side of the customer, Angelo. I mean, with inclement weather, we can't, car path only. There are some people that are handicapped that just, if it's car path only, they just can't play. It's
You
not.
have override capabilities, Bob? You could override, for instance, if things are set up to do something, can you override them?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this is not going to be an automated charging system. I'm going to have to do it on my professional staff will do it. We'll go based upon the cancellation and no-show reports. So that's the manual side, but yes, it's so we can take care of that.
Great. Thank you.
Bobby, this is Tony. The other comment I made similar to Angelo's was you could have hardship cases as well from a medical standpoint that, God forbid somebody goes in the hospital on Friday, those type of things. So I don't know if the word hardship should be put in the notes, or you just handle that yourself when those arise is fine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I see that. I can see that being abused. Unfortunately, people will use that. So we're gonna have to put our foot down at some point. Whether it mean, I don't know what it means. I mean, how I can find out the truth.
Document.
Would doctor's note something of that nature would be? I would. And if they're bad enough, karma will come back to them if they're bad to falsify a doctor's note.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If it happens, we can let it go. But if it, the great thing about this system is that we can really keep really good notes, and we can really mark people's accounts and see what we can see it. We can see patterns develop and things like that, and then they can get blackballed.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay.
Bobby has always done it. We don't want to overcomplicate or overspecify, because I don't think we need to in that regard, because the way the course has been managed, it's always been a high degree of customer service. And so we didn't feel we wanted to go too detailed in that regard. based on
I
how
think-
it's been done in the past.
I think Bobby's statement that it's not automatically done, that it gets done on his end is reassuring. That's
Yeah.
good.
That's correct.
And I think that when we were discussing this, it was more, to give Bobby some authority that if we have repeat offenders, right? If you're in the hospital and something happens, by no means should you be charged the cancellation fee. But, if you cancel every week consistently or every other week, then there's something else going on.
Right, and also there's, you're in the hospital, but the other three guys aren't. So, there's a whole foursome cancellation. Like there's some of that going on too. So you have to give Bobby some leeway on what he's going to be able to do, and I think this system allows that. In fact, it's pretty, that's one of the good things about it, is it gives Bobby some flexibility there.
Past history has shown that Bobby has performed these situations perfectly well, and of course he will continue.
Well said, Owen.
I have
Others?
a question on this motion. Being new, I don't know what the commission has done relative to the recommendation for giving the residents some preference. I've heard rumors that it was discussed, but I don't know if that's correct or not. So what's your position? What is the commission's position here?
Okay.
Do you want me? Okay.
No, well, go ahead, Joe, and I'll on if I.
Yeah, I was going to say it was discussed at length, Ellen. And with the system that we have right now, it is very difficult to differentiate between residents and non-residents. That being said, we said on that committee that, over this next year, we would explore options with the software provider to implement something of residents and non-residents and see if that's feasible or not. But the point of this motion was to get everybody on the system and all our tee times registered in the system. That way we're not having somebody at the clubhouse call in and the clubhouse go on the system when they could easily just do it from their computer.
The
commission
okay.
You're telling me the commission then has looked into it and wants to follow up on that recommendation?
Yes.
It'll be explored further. We just can't do it this year because we're going to open the course in the next month, hopefully, and we don't have time to implement a software change in that time.
Well, I can understand that problem. But,
yeah, we could not do it for the weekend tee times is where we wanted to focus, and we could not implement a resident preference for the weekend tee times. That would require a programming changes. We could, and truth be told, we could offer it 7 days a week. The system would accommodate that, correct, Bobby? This is what it would, but we weren't in a position to make the financial judgment as to whether that was some place we wanted to go to at this time. So we're going to examine it over the course of this year and look into it further. But I for one, I want to do that. That was something I want to do, but we cannot do it now. Is that, we good?
I guess that answers the question.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, one question. Day of tee times, how will that work? Will phone calls be accepted on that case, or and also will cancellations have to be through the computer alone, or can they call in and cancel? Anybody?
The day of was call-in, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe on, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom and Charlie, but I believe on the new system, you could actually cancel up to an hour before the tea time.
Well, you can cancel up to an hour before the new system, but I think, didn't we, or did we eliminate all phone-in cancellations? Yeah.
I thought I saw that.
We did eliminate all
Oh,
phone.
yeah, we did. Okay, we did. You're right. And you can cancel up to probably a few minutes before your tea time,
Did we?
actually, on the computer.
Yeah, you can, the computer won't shut down. When the cancellation, you can't press a button and how do I want to say, the system, you can't make it cancelable on the computer.
Non-cancelable.
Yeah, so this computer system will be active virtually up until the tea times are available. So
Okay,
you don't,
I was just thinking logistically, I remember the starters had to print out the sheets, and then once they had their sheet, you couldn't add, you had to phone in, so they got it physically, that type of information. Bobby, could you talk to that at all? Or?
Yeah, we are with the new system and with last year's system because of COVID. We used to have as of 5 a.m. the T sheet would go down, but we allowed online booking all day, and that will continue forward. So how that's going to work is going to have to be a lot more diligence done between the shop and the starter, because somebody could be. And again, we only take tea times. You can't book within an hour of a tea time, basically. So with that being said, that somebody could be in the parking lot, say an hour and a half out, and they could book it. If it's an open time on the computer, they can book it, and it will notify us on the screen. We're going to be working primarily off the T sheet all the time now. That's one of the biggest changes that we have with the new software is the point of sale system will be talking. I mean, the tea time system will be talking with the point of sale system, as before there were two different systems. So we weren't able to do that. So we're going to be able to, and if you click on it, it changes the person's, the name goes a different color, so we know who's checked in and so forth. But going back to Frank's question though, I think one of the things on the motion is that we're not allowing tea times to be booked over the phone. But if somebody does call on the day, calls up and wants to cancel their time, I'm going to be happy to take that cancel so I can work on trying to fill it as soon as possible. They are going to be, be charged a no-show fee, or a no-show fee if we can't fill it.
what
Okay,
about,
thanks.
are we going to, we're silent on this, and I would assume we would allow walk-ups.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, that's still permissible.
That was
Yeah, it
discovered.
says in-person reservation. So if you showed up day of and there's an opening, I assume you just could go out.
Yeah,
Correct.
yes,
Yeah, we're gonna do everything we can to get foursomes on the golf course
yeah.
all the time.
All right. So I'd like to just make a couple comments real quick, and especially regarding what Mr. Sullivan said earlier. I do have the same concerns about the system or our motion not differentiating residents and non-residents in some way. And I understand how we, how we decided what we came about deciding with that we wanted to make the least amount of manual process. But as Neil said, virtually every other course has a differentiation. So what we're going to end up with is any non-resident from anywhere is going to be able to book a Tashoe because they can't book anywhere else, right? So I think by not having this differentiation, I'm a little concerned that we're putting the residents in a disadvantaged place rather than an even place, because let's face it, there's going to be a lot of non-residents that are going to be vying for these spots. So I just want to kind of throw that out there because it's a concern of mine that I've had right from the beginning, that we're really not, it's not necessarily giving everybody the same shot. I think we're almost maybe disadvantaging the residents a little bit here. And I want to be really careful about how we're thinking about this before we vote this through, so.
But how does that change anything in the current rack right now? If you have 40 non-residents show up at 3 o'clock on the 10 days before.
Well, what the current rack does, you're talking about the in-person rack, Joe?
Yeah, or even the phone in, right? If you have 40
Yeah, well-
non-residents call in.
Yeah, well,
they're
the
gonna
phone
get
in,
two
the
times.
phone, you're right, the phone in is the same thing, but the in-person, you're less likely to get people, driving up from Darien or Norwalk or upstate a little bit or whatever. It's much easier to call in and definitely much easier to get in on a computer. So, the phone in is the same. Yeah, everybody, they could be calling in from anywhere, and that's the same. And quite frankly, I had that concern about the phone in too, but it was the only thing we could really do. So, I just want to put that out there that it's been a concern of mine, and we worked as best we could to try to get this to work out, and we couldn't, at this time anyway, couldn't get the system to accommodate that without some manual interference.
Well, from what I gathered, we are working on that going forward, trying to get that in place. We just can't do that now, and it'll be after the season starts.
Probably not this year at all. I wouldn't imagine that we're going to make a change at all this year. And I certainly wouldn't put that out there as any kind of, we're looking into it, and if they come back and say, yeah, we can do it, fairly easy and seamlessly without taking the system down or without making a lot of other changes to it, I think it would be maybe something we could do on the fly. But anytime you change any policy mid-season, it's, can kind of throw it up into a little bit of a upheaval. So I think we just need to be a little careful about at least consider Mr. Sullivan's concerns there. So
I share the exact same concerns, but I would say let's go right at 4 up. Let's just write a specification of what we would like and ask them how much and how long it would take to get it done.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone has to have a profile, and your license is on file, so they'll have a list of who's residents and who's not.
Yeah, well, we'll have that based on who bought the resident ID. That's all part of the system. It's easy enough to identify who the resident is and who the non-resident is. What's hard is to make a block of tee times available for a certain period of time and then kind of unlock that block for another period of time. There's a manual process involved in kind of blocking off and then unblocking that, quite frankly, when we were vetting all these different systems, we went through all this and questioned what they could do and what the capabilities were. And this system can do it. You just need manual intervention, right? So they weren't necessarily selling us a bill of goods when they said they could do it, because you could do it with some manual intervention. So I think that's the concern there, that it's a manual intervention that takes a block that's kind of blocked off and then kind of unblocks it. And that would have to happen every Saturday and Sunday morning and holiday morning for that specific time frame. I think 5:30 in the morning. Then at 6:30 it opens up for everybody else. There's going to be a lot going on at 6:30 in the morning in the pro shop on a Saturday for Bobby to have to unblock stuff on a computer. So we decided just to eliminate as much manual intervention as possible. So
I think at the end of the day, we're moving our clients onto a better system, and we have a short-term solution to the rack this year while we explore other options with our vendor.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments, questions?
John, I just want to add and remove some confusion. Don and I had a going back and forth because we were renumbering sections and renaming sections, but three numbers from the original reservation policy stay. One of them is that we're allowing walk-ups, so that's policy stays as is.
That's in there, okay.
And then the other one was if we have a frost delay, the tee times go in the order that they were taken. So that stays, that's from the original policy. And then there was, we have group play requests for 40 players. Anyway, there was a section on that too. So those policies stayed. We just didn't rewrite them because they didn't change, but they are in the revised policy. They're just renumbered.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Don, it's Tony. I just got a logistics question. Are we still going to go, I know today we go off the front and the back. Will that still be the same way with this system?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anybody else? Looking around. Okay. So it's time for a vote. All in favor of accepting the tea time reservation system changes as submitted? All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Do you want to do a roll call to make it easier, or?
Well, just put your hands up so we can see them and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can do a roll call just to confirm, but I have 7 yays.
Okay.
Wait, I have Angelo, Diane, Don, Frank, Tony, and Joe.
And Shelley?
Shelley.
I believe.
Shelley. Okay, good.
Let's
Okay.
go. Let's just go around, make sure we have it. Angelo, what say you?
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Shelley,
Aye.
Tom,
Nay.
Joe,
Aye.
Owen,
Abstain.
Stain, Tony.
Aye.
Aye. Don is an aye. So motion carried 7-1, 1 abstention. So the motion is carried. We have one other motion, which is really a clarification. Joe, you want to bring this motion?
Yeah, motion to clarify the 2/3 majority vote required. This would remove the wording of 6 affirmative votes. Basically, the idea is if we don't have 9 members, we can't have 2/3 majority with a 6-person vote. So,
Yeah, if we have 8, it's still 6, but if we have 7, 2/3 is 5. So
Right.
It's
Right.
really a clarification that it's 2/3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe brings the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Frank, second. Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Looks like it's unanimous. Motion carried. All right. Any other new business? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I got Angelo had his hand up first. So don't give it a second. I saw Angelo. He was boom,
Okay.
boom. All right. Okay. All in favor? Aye, we're all in favor. Adios.
Aye.
Adios.
Thank you all. Welcome to our two new members. Thank you.
welcome.